In this video, I'm going to talk about how to create a drop cap in your InDesign magazine spread. So if you're not quite sure what a drop cap is, I know that you've seen it before. It's just at the very start of the text, you'll see oftentimes the designer will add a larger letter for that first character of the first word. So here, the words mistakes, I'm going to go ahead and add the drop cap, which is that large M. There's a couple of things that you need to take into consideration before we start creating that drop cap style. So I'm going to walk you through those things first, all right? Before we even get started on creating the style, we want to make sure that we remember what font family we're using. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Laura font. And to double check this, all I did was double click so I have some of that paragraph text highlighted. Up here, I can see the Laura font and then the regular. I probably want to make this drop cap pop and make it more contrasty from the body text. So I'll probably use the bold and then just make note of the paragraph size. It's a 12, again, because we want to really contrast the drop cap from the rest of the body text. I might want to put it at like a 30 or a 40 so it really stands out. So those are things just to write down. The font family, make sure you double check to see if there's another option to kind of help that contrast pop more, and then make a note of the size. The second thing that you may want to do is you may want to add color to that drop cap letter. And I recommend that if this is something you're thinking to add into your design, that you stick with one of the colors from your palette. So here you want to make sure that you've selected a color and that it's available to you in the swatches panel. If you're not sure how to do that, I'll walk you through it right now. I think that what I want to do is make my drop cap M be this gold color that is until 70. So I want to make sure that I pick that exact same color. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that text. And then we see in the left-hand panel that that gold text is selected. At this point, what we want to do is go over to the swatches panel on the right-hand side. We're going to click on swatches, and it doesn't show up right now in my swatches panel. There's just these like the basic generic colors that are there already. So what I'll do is go down to the plus sign that has the little box around it. It's by the garbage can. And we'll just click on that, and then you should see that new swatch color come up of that selected color. At this point, I'm going to close out my swatches panel. I'm going to go back to my selection tool, and I'm going to make sure that my until 70, that font, it's unselected, because as we start to create our character style, it will change whatever text is selected. So we don't want that to happen. Before we do the drop cap styling and making that character styling, what we want to do is make sure that we have one more thing on our screen. You should be in the Essentials Classic. So up here in the top right corner, you can tell it says Essentials Classic. The other place that we can go to check how our workspace is laid out is over to Window, up at the top left of the screen, that top navigation, and go down to Workspace, and then just make sure that you are in Essentials Classic. What you want to have show up is the Properties panel. So over here on the right-hand side, you may or may not have that Properties when you get an Essential Classic. I don't. If that's how you are, just go back to Window, scroll down. These are all in alphabetical order, so we're going down to the P's for Properties, and we're just going to click on Properties. And then you should see this Properties flyout right here, and the top right will pop up. And this is all going to come into play in just a second. Now it's time to create a character style. And we're going to go ahead and set that up. Think back to the worksheet. Brother Libert talked you guys through this once, so you should be somewhat familiar with it, but I'm going to walk it through again here. So to create a character style, we're going to go up to Type in the top left navigation, and then down to Character Styles. You will see this additional flyout pop up right here on your screen. And at this point, we have a character style one, but we want to create a new style. So we go back down to that plus sign. If you hover over that plus sign with the little box around it, it says create new style. So we click there. We see character style number 2, and we want to double click on that character style number 2 to get this flyout menu up. The first thing we want to do is change the style name so that we know what the drop cap is. So we'll click on character style 2 and type in drop cap. And then on this screen, you should be done. Now, this is when we go ahead and change the styling. So the font family, and then, bold, italic, whatever you've selected. So you'll go to the basic character format right here, basic character formats. And we've got our style name still as the drop cap. Our font family, remember for mine, it's going to be Laura. My font style, I decided that I wanted the bold. And then my size, I think I am going to go ahead and just type in, let's do 40 and just see where it goes. You won't need to worry probably about the kerning, the case, or the leading or tracking. So don't worry about any of that right now. Then you'll go ahead and hit OK. Nothing popped up, and that's just because we didn't have anything selected. So now it's time to actually apply the drop cap styling to that letter M. And to do that, you'll take your selection tool, you'll double click so that you're inside the text box, and then you'll want to just highlight that first letter so you can see that highlight of the letter M. Now this is where that properties panel is important. Go back over, and with the M highlighted, you're going to check to make sure that you have the properties tab clicked, and then you're going to go away from paragraph styles, so not paragraph styles but character styles. So we'll click on character styles. You'll see this drop down right here. It says AG none, but then we have the option for a drop down. So go ahead and click the drop down, and you see character style 1, and then we see drop cap. So we'll hit our drop cap button, and then let me click off. So click off our selection tool so that we can get it just looking nice and pretty. We can see that we've added the character drop cap styling to that first letter. Now remember, we talked about adding the golden color from the title here for the drop cap to kind of give that repetition of our color palette. Here's how you do it. What you'll want to do is with your selection tool, make sure that you click back in and highlight the M. Then what you'll do is go over to the right hand properties panel. So again, over here in the properties, okay? And we'll want to make sure that we're on character styles. So we'll click character styles, and then we see the drop cap, but there's no way to edit it here. How you get the edit feature is to go ahead and click on the down arrow, go down to drop cap, and when it's highlighted, you can see that there's a pen or a style option tool. So we click on that pen, and it brings that style options flyout panel back up on our screen so that we can adjust additional things. So if you wanted to change the size or something, you go back into basic character. We want to change character color at this point. So what we'll do is click on character color, and you see they have all of the basic swatches from our swatches panel. That's why we added that golden color into our swatches panel first. So there's our golden color. If we scroll down, we can see it. We'll click on that option, and then we'll go ahead and hit OK. I'll use my selection tool to just click off, and so you can see now we've got a drop cap letter M in all the perfect size and boldness that we want, and then also with the golden color. So that's how you add a drop cap at the beginning of your magazine spread.